You're listening to the Arrow of Time right here on the Musings of a Geek podcast network.
Problematic.
Problematic. Oh.
Need problems fast? Use the problematic. It's got a handle. Are we tested?
Yes.
We're kid tested and Matt approved.
Yay. All right. Start it up. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Arrow of Time, episode 122. My name is Matt.
I'm Joseph.
I am Gabe.
And I'm Susan.
And this is the Arrow of Time, episode 122. See, I announced the episode title in the beginning, and I'm like, oh, that flows. But then when it came back, I didn't know how to get out of it, and so it just repeated. So
It's fine.
Twice than never?
Exactly, yeah.
You're stuck in a moment.
I'm stuck in a moment.
Ha! Just like in this episode
Right.
of our name. What's the name?
Hellbent.
That's right. So now we're just sort of swearing in titles now. Doctor Who's gone down the toilet.
Just completely in the gutter.
Potty mouth.
Potty mouth Moffat. Yeah, that's right. That's my new name for him. So
Well,
that's what he's brought us.
Cheers.
Cheers on that. Cheers on Potty Mouth Moffat.
Yes.
He'll be gone next year, right?
Unfortunately not. All right, so Hellbent, huh?
Hellbent. I would say that this was not as hellish as I was anticipating.
Oh. But it was bent.
Nor was it heaven sent.
Yeah, that's true. It was not heaven sent. It was Hellbent. Which this name sound familiar? Ha ha! Moffat, you're so clever.
Don't feed into his ego.
I really enjoyed the episode a lot. I will say it was a very it was a nice end to things. I thought it was a nice story and completed things. That's my summation.
It also left some things unanswered.
Left some things unanswered.
But it left fun things unanswered. It's not aggravating things.
The hybrid's still out there.
Or is it? They didn't do a very good job about that.
Well, I agree with you, Matt.
Yeah.
I also liked it. The first time I watched it, I wasn't quite so sure. And then I watched it again, and parts of it, like 3 and 4 times now. And the more I think about it, the more it grows on me. It's not necessarily a easy pill to swallow, but once you get it down, it's good for you.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and if you want to know more about what Gabe thought about this episode, even past this podcast, you could either keep listening to the podcast or you could stop listening to the podcast right now and go to aotpodcast.com, where you can find all of our many various podcasts, plus our first review on an episode.
In text form.
In text form,
Yes.
Written by Gabe, and it's probably the most cleverest and I would say the smartest review that I've read on the internet on Doctor Who.
So you must not read many reviews on the internet. Thank you, Matt.
I guess. Well, no, I mean, I've read I've read a lot of like blog posts written by very emotional people who don't worry about grammar.
So on purpose, I didn't read any reviews before writing it because I didn't want to get biased. The very first review I read afterwards, I'm like, oh, it's so much better than mine.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
really?
Yeah.
Well, delete it. No.
But it was funny too. People were confused. Like at least 2 people commented like, "No podcast this week." It's like, no, this is extra.
Yes. Don't worry. There's a podcast, and it'll be this one. So back to the podcast.
No more reading.
Yes. No more reading. Started up from the beginning, I guess. Or how do we want to do this? Do we all just want a summation of what we thought, or
Well, we know how you and I feel. What do
we
Susan
do?
and Joseph
Well,
think?
what do Joseph and Susan feel?
What does Susan feel? You go first.
Why do I have to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. I liked it. I still think that it was a little too long at some points. There's a lot of needless technicalities that just serve to kind of cloud the story, but it's still a good story. It could have been conciser.
Yeah, no, I pretty much thought the same thing, actually. I really like this ending for Clara. I was left a little bit unsatisfied by the previous death. So just the fact that she gets to go out and have some more adventures before her time's up, that kind of makes me happy.
Well, plus, as long as she's not dead, there's still time to find a solution to her dying.
That is true.
I mean, who knows? It could be Time Lord gives her a magic pill and suddenly she's fine. I mean,
Yeah. Although I kind of like the idea that like this is it for her and she's just off on a last hurrah adventure and she's come to terms with it and made her peace. I don't know. There's something. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Not romantic. That's not what I'm looking for.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
sad but
Sad,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something really lovely about it. So.
There is. I will agree with that. And I do kind of think that the fact that she did say, she's not afraid of dying, and why does everybody think that I'm so afraid of dying and saying goodbye and all that? It's a problem for everybody else, or it seems to be a problem for everybody else, but not for her. So I think she's completely content with going and accepting what she did with the Raven for Rigsy. And right now she's just going around having some fun until she feels she needs to go back.
well, I think that's the thing with Clara is I think that she will keep having fun, like just from her character,
Right.
until she can't. And I can't see her just like saying, well, that was it. Time to, pay the piper.
Right.
I think that she will be out there. And again, if she does get regenerations here, we could have the same actor or the same character with a new actor. Clara who?
Yeah, they said that in the episode.
Yes.
It's canon.
It is canon. Wait, why would she get regenerations?
I don't know, Moffat.
Time Lords could do it.
Yeah, she is headed back to Gallifrey at some point. So.
That's true if they want to regret.
Because
Right,
one heart is stopped, but the other one might not. Bum, bum, bum.
Yes. Oh. Yes. So, I guess since we all liked it so much, it was a dandy of an episode. What did we not like about it then?
Oh, you know what I don't like? There's this little bits.
The length.
I don't think this one needed to be super duper ultra length. It could have maybe been a little bit longer than normal.
Right.
But there were many times where there's, especially everything happening in the cloisters, it's not particularly needed to have this mythology thing that we never heard about before thrust upon us just to be a place to wait for a bit. I mean,
It was very atmospheric.
it was very atmospheric, yes. But I feel like that's just a whole. Here's a whole other story to kind of like distract you from the actual story. Like we don't need a dangerous place in the middle of our danger. Is what I'm saying.
That's fair.
True, but still the scenes down there were sweet. The scenes with the Doctor and Clara.
Oh no, they were good scenes, but they could have taken place without having to have all the baggage of why that thing was there and why the Time Lords are scared of it and computers and blah blah blah.
But it did also allow the Doctor to have the hybrid myth
Right.
because he was the only person to, again, the Moffat and his the only person to ever get down there. And
The best. Yeah. Still though, that was just little things like that.
my biggest problem with the episode, I think, to put it in a general theme, was just the times the Doctor snapped. I think that there was early on when the Doctor first arrives on Gallifrey and gets Rassilon and the High Council to leave just pretty much effortlessly. That is what I think of as the Doctor. So then a little bit later, when he steals the General's gun and shoots him, I mean, that's two things that are, massively un-Doctor-like. And I get that they're trying to emphasize exactly how far he'll go for Clara, but still, you would think there would be some other way that he could show this without picking up a gun and firing. It just seemed like it was a little lazy.
Maybe they're just trying to show how broken he is at the moment. I mean,
Yeah, and that too. He also, he's also, going down, making like all these bad decisions, which is what leads up to his initial thing to chance at wiping his memory, which he does, or saying we need to split up because this is too dangerous for the universe. I care about you too much. But I think one thing that really makes it not so undoctor-like was that, and I'm forgetting what the general is. It
just the general?
The general. He asked him what regeneration he was on. He said the 10th, and so he's like, "All right."
Right. So the doctor has a line that dying on Gallifrey is like getting the flu.
Yeah. So he's like, "I'm not killing him. I'm just, and I think it was almost seemed like an agreement on both their ends.
Because the general is kind of like, I don't like what you're doing, but it might work. So, because doctor asked for the memory eraser,
right? Yeah. So he says, "Good luck." Right before he shoots him, says, "Good luck," and he's like, "You too." But yeah, it wasn't him just taking a life like Missy would. It was the doctor just going out and like, "All right, I'm gonna suspend you for a moment, or I know that you're going to come back. I'm not worried about it. It's not like I'm killing a human and putting them to end forever."
But you're right, though, Gabe. It was jarring seeing him with a gun in his hand. That doesn't happen often, if ever, does it?
Once per doctor since 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now, at least, once per doctor. And I never did.
I understand, and I've seen a little bit.
He didn't have an actual like gun,
no,
but
it was
in Dalek he was holding the gun and he's like, "I'm gonna shoot this Dalek," and then Rose is like, "But you're pointing it going at me," or "I'm not the one it's not the one pointing the gun at me," or something like that, saying that the doctor's worse than the Dalek. Yes, at that point. Anyway,
and I understand that he was less opposed to guns back in the day, but still, for the modern era, that's been one of his tenets, is he hates.
He used to be all about neck snapping, and now shooting what's going on.
Much more hands-on.
Yeah. So anyway, there was that, and just the Time Lords in general. Apparently, they've known about the hybrid prophecy since the Doctor was a lad at the Academy. So why did they wait till now to make it so important? They're going to lock him in a confession dial for billions of years.
They had to sort through the whole Time War thing first, maybe.
Paperwork.
Or maybe they didn't connect the dots that it involved him until later on.
Yeah.
Prophecies can be super general, so.
I know, we don't know the color.
Right.
Seriously.
I love that scene so much. That was a delightful scene. I don't think anything was wasted on that.
No. But this part of this prophecy, not counting the Time War, how long has Gallifrey been around? And it seems like it hops around in time sort of willy-nilly, not even counting being stuck in a parallel universe or a pocket universe. It's like, why are they hiding at the end of time? If they have time machines and time travel, they can really do anything they want to at any time they want to. So just, I don't know, diversify a bit, go elsewhere. Don't all hang out in the same place.
Maybe they don't like neighbors.
I don't know, it just seems weird. Like the solution to our problem is to hide the whole planet in the distant future.
That's not unprecedented for the Time Lords, though.
I know, it's just weird.
They should hide the planet 1 second out of sync.
It'll take a lot of energy.
That's more like it, though. That seems more like an appropriate plan to hide, if you're trying to hide.
Right.
Yes. And I also don't like how they added up time in this, because the Doctor was in the confession doll for 4.5 billion years, according to the people who put him there. He had guessed around 2 billion.
Well, no, I think they said, we think
Right.
about this. And that was the sister, I can't think of her name.
Karn.
Sister
No,
of Karn.
the actual, Ohila?
Oh, something like that.
Ohila, yeah.
Aloha.
She said, our best guess is, and she was, as we saw early on, a little bit on the outside of the Time Lord Society.
Right.
So.
But then the problem crops up. I guess this falls into the things I don't like category, in that in those 4.5 billion years, give or take, apparently we're now on the cusps of the end of the universe, which is not even close to correct.
Right. Well, and they also said that Clara's been dead for half the age of the universe, which
is also not correct.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The math doesn't work any way you look at it. That 4.5 billion number, though, is probably important because that's the age of the solar system, and we're roughly halfway through the lifespan of the solar system. So, or the sun specifically. So I'm wondering if somebody, Stephen Moffat, didn't latch onto that number and made it the age of the universe instead.
well, it's the heliocentric model of the universe.
Very heliocentric. Yeah, because the actual universe has somewhere, best guesses we have right now, somewhere between, like 30 or 40 billion years left on it minimum. And at maximum it has like hundreds of trillions. So
We're good.
yeah, we're good.
Well, I think the number popped down because they didn't account for how fast it was spreading or whatever.
Oh yes, that's the expansion. Yeah. That said, that it was a nice little thing though that Me mentioned that she had a very clever or like brilliant way of surviving
yes.
the last seconds of the universe.
Well, the
basically.
doctor said you're here at the end of the universe, surviving in a reality bubble. How are you maintaining it?
Brilliantly. That's what.
What didn't you like, Susan?
The only thing I can really point to is just, I think as Joseph said earlier, there's, a couple of places where I didn't quite follow the logic of how we got from point A to point B in the story. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess that connects, and just gave up trying to think about it too hard and enjoyed the ride, and it was worth it.
And it's a good ride, which it makes it okay. It's not a big deal to just, okay, some technical thing happened. Whatever.
Yeah. And I'm sure if I watched it a couple more times, I would figure it out, but yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, there's just a couple moments that I thought was we probably didn't need because we were actually able to, I think, when we were watching it, explain away a lot of the weird kind of intricacies or loopholes in the show. Like basically, you had that question, Gabe, when we first finished watching it. Like, wait a second. If the doctor can't remember Clara, and he's telling the story, how are we seeing like all these little incidences and like details? And it's like, oh well, we're meant to believe that we're going through the doctor's memories, but we're actually, us as the viewer, we're viewing it through Clara's memory, and we're being tricked into thinking that this is the doctor's memory, but he's just kind of barely kind of coming up with it.
Well, so based on the questions that Clara asked him in the diner,
Yeah.
I do think actually he is telling the story, but what we're actually seeing is a hybrid of their two memories.
Ooh, look at that.
Very good.
So, because the doctor he says that he remembers all these things now, but he can't remember things like the way she looked, or the way she smiled, or the way she laughed.
But he remembers the circumstances. Like he knows there was a trip on the Orient Express, but that's it. That's all I can pull out of it.
Yeah, he remembers titles, which is what we basically did.
Under the lake.
I don't know. That last season kind of got away from me there. I don't know. But yeah, I think that the biggest issues that I think I had with the episode was, especially, because we talked about it being a little bit long, and looking back on it, I'm like, well, there's this whole scene where the doctor's eating soup. And then there's another scene like at the end, and I actually kind of laughed at it, but because of just like what it ultimately was. But when Me and the doctor were just talking about theories, and it's kind of like we're just watching two characters in Doctor Who speculate about what
What's
could be.
happening
Yeah,
on their own show.
Yeah, it's like I'm just watching a forum, a live Doctor Who forum right now.
Well, see, I was okay with both of those scenes. What bothered me the first time we watched it, and I've grown to accept it, is how the various feelings of these scenes they're not really cohesive. It's like that scene with the doctor eating soup, in and of itself, was pretty good because here's the doctor staring down a gunship.
Yeah.
And here are these apparently common Gallifreyans that are in awe of the doctor because the man who ended the Time War. So that in and of itself, that's not bad. And then we flash forward to the end of time, and here's the doctor and Me, two very clever, immortal, different people, sort of almost, testing wits, which again, in and of itself is a nice scene. But it felt like we were watching maybe like 4 mini episodes that were glued together into one. It didn't really feel like the same episode per se. But again, I've grown to accept that.
Yeah.
But the first time I saw it, that was one of the things I jotted down.
There was a lot of different little bits. What did you think about that, Susan? Did you feel like there was a lot of little bits?
Now that you mention it, I guess it was a little bit fragmented, but it didn't, I don't know, it didn't really bother me when I was watching it for whatever reason. The transitions between them were smooth enough where it wasn't like jarring going back and forth, so I think that kind of made it okay for me. But yeah, I definitely see what you're talking about.
I wonder if we're seeing the results of a very jumbled up season. Like all these 2-parters, all the things, and things got shuffled around. So what we're watching actually was 2 parts before. And, they said, well, we're out of time, or no, we need to put something else in someplace to make this make sense. And yeah, ended up with
It was that one-off Gatus episode.
But because the budget for this was clearly astronomical. I mean, effects aside, they had so many new sets, so many props, so many things. And I feel like, if it was a 2-parter, it would be more justified. This
is so funny. I'm going to let you say a thing.
No, it's so funny. Go.
It's so funny because this whole entire season, Joseph's like catchphrase has been like, it would have been great if this 2-parter was just one episode. And then it would have been good. And now this time, like, this one-off episode should have been 2 parts.
This was a 3-parter, actually.
This was a 3-parter.
Yeah.
But they're like 3 standalones.
Yeah,
that
not really.
Yeah.
It's not a 3-parter. We got to think serially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gabe, you're about to say something.
I guess 2 quick things. I read that Face the Raven was not going to be where Clara died. It was going to be an episode that occurred earlier in the season, and they just continued on like normal. But then Moffat, having read the script, was like, oh, I like this. I'm going to move it back and change the ending so that this is where Clara dies and tie it into the end. So I wonder if, as the show began like early production, Moffat still wasn't quite sure how he was going to end the season. So it kind of got like hashed together at the last minute.
Yeah, I can see that.
In their 11th month production cycle, it has to be.
Somehow we're eking by these, one episode every 6 weeks. Or...
That's the problem. He has too much time to think.
My other thing, I guess my last thing I didn't like about the episode, really didn't like, was the Star Wars-ness of the episode.
It was pervasive. Yeah. The music, the most
spaceships,
of the sets, yeah.
The costumes with the fancy Gallifreyan doodads.
Well, those were from the old days, but
I know, but they still felt kind of overblown when you mix them with the sets and the...
Yeah. It's possible Lucas stole those from the
original series.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm actually really glad because Moffat teased that it would be Star Wars in the interview he did last week with Radio Times. I think it was Radio Times. And so I knew it was coming, but I wasn't quite prepared for the exact slap in the face of over the top, like not just like the big pompous music, but even some of the little incidental music. It's like, this is more Star Wars. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, definitely with the like little like flaring like trumpets or whatever. Yeah, definitely reminiscence of Star Wars.
And you got to cash in.
Not reminiscent, hackery.
Hackery, okay. And now we're not talking about Stephen Moffat. We're talking about Murray Gold.
Well, but again, given how he made the ships and sets and everything look, at one point, Joseph pointed out the doctors were wearing like a Han Solo vest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I did spot.
I'm sure that he went to his music team and was like, I want Star Wars. Give me Star Wars. And they're like, but sir, no, I said Star Wars. Yes, sir.
So Stephen Moffat is becoming George Lucas.
It is inevitable.
With his arms folded.
But did we know Star Wars was coming out around now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've known for years now.
Oh, I
don't know.
We basically have known since Disney bought the property from Lucas, which was about a little over a year ago now.
Okay, so
it's either going to come out on Christmas or now. So then they find it.
Thanksgiving or no.
Oh, I thought it was okay. I thought it was always going to come out in December, but I don't know. There's more people that are more educated on this topic than me.
Anyway, Moffat could easily have been targeting his Star Wars-y episode to sort of line up with Star Wars
itself.
Absolutely. years in advance.
Oh gosh. Again, because I ended up liking the episode so much, I've now looked past it and like just hearing you guys watch it earlier, I still like roll my eyes internally, or not just actually roll my eyes at hearing it. But you know, in the context of the episode, whatever, I'll look the other way.
You know, there were soundtrack things that I did actually really like, though. Like, there were bits of time where there was bits of the Doctor's bass guitar, like, playing over the top of things, and I thought it was a nice tie-in with, like, the storytelling scenes with Clara, so you never really forgot what was happening and that they had a framing device going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there were several variations of Clara's theme, so I'm just going to say right now, the first time I watched the episode, I probably cried 4 or 5 times. And even the second time I watched it, I still cried a couple times. Yeah. And one of those is, Clara's theme, because it's morphed into like this perfect representation of her. We saw it the first time we ever heard it, I think. We had this talk the other day. The first time I remember hearing it was in The Snowman, when the Doctor kind of decides, this Oswin? No.
That was Clara Oswin.
She's still Clara.
That was the first time she was Clara.
And realizes how special she is, and then we moments later lose her. So that burned it, and then they did a really good job of introducing it at some really heartfelt moments throughout her tenure on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when they just hit you over the head constantly with it, it's like, oh God, give me a tissue.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of ties back and all that. And I didn't realize how many different ties there actually were with Clara. I mean, I knew that she had a lot of ties, but this is just kind of like reminding me constantly, especially when they're talking about things that happened in the Bells of St. John while Missy hooks up Clara with the Doctor. It's odd. It's odd that things like that have happened as far back as they did. Yeah. And it kind of boggles me the way that Moffat writes now. And I want to hate it, but then they're like things like this. They're like, "Oh, Moffat, okay, all right, you ended up pulling it off
just this once."
Yeah, because sometimes he'll do that, and it's just for not a great payoff at all, like season 6. But or that whole like run of Matt Smith at the end. It's like, really, you had to tie everything together. You had to go all that far back and do that. Like, that wasn't necessary. But yeah, when there's like little bits as where he's planned, like, oh, okay, well, this part, right, he's going to do this, and this is going to make him want to do this, and da 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 da. It's almost like he's storyboarded the entire story of a companion.
But I don't think he does that.
You think he just gets lucky and it's like, oh, I can turn this into that.
It's not even that. He basically leaves himself things. So you drop the idea of like, where'd the phone call come from? Way back, like, as soon as we get around to it, I'll fill it in. And sometimes he forgets. Sometimes we have ones that don't ever get resolved. So,
right, I was reading, I forget which site now, that are talking about some things that are problematic now that Clara appears to be, if not dead, no longer having, human functions. One of them is Orson Pink. She never had a child.
Yes.
Yes.
So unless, she begins having her heartbeat again, she's never going to have a child.
I still think that she did have Orson Pink and then gave him away at some point.
We just never saw it.
I still think that that Danny and Clara got friendly in the library trip at school.
That's right.
Because they both
museum.
They woke up together and were coming out and like, hey, what's going on? And like adjusting their clothes. And then that was like, and then the season ended, and then there was like a bunch of time passed.
Not 9 months though.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe. The Doctor tends to disappear for long periods of time. So.
Yeah, we don't know. So that could have happened.
It's a big gap.
It's a big. I'm doing the best I can, Joseph.
Like at this point, X-Files explanation would make more sense.
Oh no.
It's clearly that she was kidnapped by aliens, and then there was a clone of her, but it's actually Orson. I don't know. It's hard to write the X-Files.
Was there anything that didn't exist? Did anything stop anything from existing, or stories from? Were there any like aborted timelines or whatever?
I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, because they could just go, Orson thing never happened.
Orson could be a result of the fragmenting of time because Clara was supposed to die, and now there's problems. I think we would have noticed earlier because we've been in the future before, so we should have said, "Wait." The doctor said, "Whoa, there's fractured time for some reason. I wonder what causes this, you guys." Well, never mind.
Well, and you have to also wonder what things are like at this moment on Trap Street, because they obviously move on. We see Me in the future. She's not stuck in that moment.
Well, she saw Clara die, so somehow she remembers that. So that means that the extraction thing works not like normal time travel somehow.
So
Or alternately, because Clara does eventually return to that spot, it would look like one continuous moment.
So, but right now you wouldn't be able to land a TARDIS in London in that year, probably.
You would not be wise, no.
Yes.
Paradox City.
Paradox City. Yes. We should probably take a break right now.
Let's take a break.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, we are back.
We're back.
We're back. We
We're
made
back
it
with
back.
beer and water, maybe.
Back and better than ever.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. Tasty stuff. So, moving forward, you have a list of notes over there.
I
Gabe.
do.
You do.
You're so organized.
So organized. I love it.
Well, I feel less so now because I sort of told my narrative in the review that I wrote. I feel like I'm just here to chill.
Let's pick apart your narrative so people don't have to read it because TLDR. No, that's what I said the first time I was about to read it. But I read it. It was fine. I was very tired when I read it, but it was good. It's worth a read.
So I guess a random little crumb.
Yeah, a little crumb.
Towards the beginning, when Rassilon confronts the Doctor and threatens to kill him, he asks, how many regenerations do they grant? And then he says, I've got all night, implying they can just sit there and pick through them.
Oh, yeah.
Which implies he had a lot more than 13 this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And interestingly, that he doesn't know the number.
Right.
It's like, you think he might be involved in that decision?
Plus, you think that if he has the magical glove of Rassilon, you fire twice and you cancel the regeneration process?
Hey, isn't there a way to just kill a Time Lord dead?
You just have to kill him fast, so before the regeneration can take hold.
Yeah.
Or you kill him while they're regenerating.
Yeah.
Or, shoot him again while they're... Yeah. So that didn't quite make sense, but still... It seems like a little clue that Moffat threw down that he might pick up later, might not.
Yeah, that's one of his ace up the sleeve type things.
And I think, too, that's probably a thing where, he probably could have killed him instantly, but he wanted that information to pop out like, Ooh, we don't know.
One left, Doctor.
Yeah, or just that like little idea that, hey, it could be more. It might not be a 12 or 13 regeneration cap.
It could be infinite.
It could be infinite.
Well, no, that's just silly.
Yes. I know.
There's got to be some societal limit. You can't have
Well-
Time Lords that have regenerated 1,000 times.
There is so much confusion around how the regenerations actually work. Because the master at one point was trying to steal the Doctor's regenerations, which implies that it's some sort of, almost like an object, but, inside of you, or like something inside of you that can trigger it. But then the Doctor was granted more regenerations. So it's not like a societal cap to begin with. It's actually something that's limited in quantity.
And they're tradable and stealable.
Yeah.
Because the Master in the old days was trying to steal regenerations from the Doctor.
Well, okay. How do bitcoins work?
Well, you see, bitcoins use. Help me out here, Susan. They use deep mining to find data cores. No, code strings. They do some. Basically, you use CPU power to dig through all of the possible combinations. They're called blockchains, I believe. Blockchains, and only certain ones of the blockchains actually match whatever the Bitcoin. There's lots of different types of these things, but whatever it's looking for as, that's actually worth something. And then once you've found that, it gets added on to the official chain, and that extends the amount of money available total. So you're actually mining. That they call it that, mining.
Yeah.
You're searching around rocks. Oh, there's the Bitcoin, and you actually pull it out and you add it to the chain.
It really is automated computerized gold mining, essentially.
And you get credit for it if you're the one who finds it. So it's your value goes to you. I'm really not entirely sure how the actual program though itself works.
Because maybe that's how regenerations are.
So you can mine them.
Maybe. Hey, Moffat. Take it. Go for it.
Well, and there's other confusion too, because it seems like you're just a Gallifreyan until you look upon the untempered schism. And that somehow has something to do with not just the regenerations, but also gaining a second heart.
Right.
So it's a mess.
So normal Gallifreyans only have one heart?
Yes, that's been implied before.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, way back. Way back.
But the regenerations get you that second heart.
Yeah, so the first time you generate, that's when you get the second heart.
Interesting.
And why are there Gallifreyans living in huts in the middle of the desert?
Well, somebody's got to do the farming.
It's like they control time itself.
Are they moisture farming? What are they doing out there?
Sure, why not?
Maybe they're farming the schism. I don't know.
Maybe they've got some kind of fancy livestock that lives off of dirt. I don't know.
It's just weird because going opposite the Star Wars thing, whereas you have Coruscant, the planet that's a city. Here's Gallifrey, where we have tiny little capital and then miles and miles, a huge desert surrounding it, and it's supposed to be full of red grass.
The desert or the city?
No, everything.
The
Gallifrey.
hills. The hills.
David
The
Tennant's
hills.
doctor always went on about the red grass of Gallifrey.
I mean, it could just be in a different area.
Yeah.
Well, but no, it was always shown around the capital city area in his little
it was
glimpses we
on-
caught before.
It was on the other side of the
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's just the wrong season.
This is winter.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
Winter is coming.
Huh.
Or was that just in his mind palace?
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And also, where are these other, bumpkin Time Lords hanging out? Gallifreyans, whatever. There's one barn in the entire to the horizon.
Speaking of which, the lady that owned the barn,
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. I love that lady. I
Yeah.
don't know, her just pointing and mouthing wordlessly.
Yes.
The president.
Fabulous.
So was that his mother? Who was that supposed to be?
I think it was just the lady that owned the barn.
Yeah.
I my first thought was mother too, but I don't think so.
Because that's the same barn that he went to. We see him as a child when Clara comforts him. He's up in that loft in the barn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in the 50th, when he's going to set off the moment or whatever it was called, it was also in that barn.
Yeah.
So that barn's clearly important to him.
It's just what it was as a kid.
Yeah. So I mean, the lady obviously knew him, so
Even this generation, she's on seeing him, she's like, "Oh, you."
yeah.
Well, I think also it's kind of noted that, and I don't know if she's now just a Gallifreyan or a Time Lord, but I know Time Lords can sense other Time Lords and who they are. I would think that maybe that'd be just the same thing with Gallifreyans. Maybe that's how they work. Oh, I know that, they tend to regenerate. So like we kind of know, we feel their presence, and so I guess then that begs the question: why did she not recognize him before he turned around? But yeah.
Well, some was in
It's all in the eyes.
It's all in the eyes. Oh, that could be it. They're always talking about the eyes. This is definitely about the eyes, especially the eye picture in the credits. Capaldi's got some great eyes. I was thinking about that, like how great Capaldi's eyes are.
Attack eyes.
They're very worldly.
Yeah, and just like he can like look, just like give a look, and it's like, oh, we've made the Doctor angry. I love it.
What's next?
What is next on your tablet of?
You mentioned the credits.
The credits, yes.
Still clocks.
Still clocks, which are awful. But I did cheer seeing Jenna Coleman back. I mean,
Yes.
basically, except for being barely in the last episode, she finished the whole season, which was nice.
She did, yeah.
And as soon as the Queen Victoria show is canceled, we'll get her back in the spin-off series.
Yay! Wacky Adventures in the Diner TARDIS.
Right.
How do you explain that when you go like to ancient Egypt?
People just don't know. Won't
No,
realize.
it's the same way that when they went to Greece or Pompeii, like they didn't even care that it was a weird blue box. It's just like I want it. It's interesting.
But you people in Pompeii could build a blue box.
I guess.
People in ancient Egypt could not build an American diner.
Really? Do you know that for a fact?
Well, they have help with the aliens, and they're going to make some grain silos or something.
Yeah, they made grain silos.
Yeah.
They're the biggest in the bread factory.
So they go to ancient Egypt. They just throw some pyramids on the outside. See, and blend right in.
Perfect. It's foolproof.
Well, it still has that perception filter, I'm
Right.
assuming, where it's just like people go, oh, okay, I don't care.
So why did the Pompeians see right through the perception filter?
Because they're smarties.
Well, because they're, I don't know, Peter Capaldi's there.
They had the third eye or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They did actually have that whole thing where they sight beyond normal vision.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, because of the, oh, there we go. We're explaining things for other people now.
Good job, Kira.
Yay. This is what we do.
Tis.
Yes.
We mentioned the general. I thought it was amusing when the general regenerated into a woman and made that little comment that that previous one was her only time being a man.
Oh,
and
yes.
she was like, "How do you live with all that ego?"
Yes.
And she was pretty cool. I liked her. I would like
Yeah.
to see her back again.
Definitely, yeah, she was great. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that actor. Definitely for the like from the 50th. I thought he was great.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that, he just had so many great moments in the 50th of just like, oh, the madman, what does he want now? And just it really kind of seeing how the Gallifreyans probably really felt about the Doctor. And then coming around here and just his performance, that character siding with the Doctor, I thought was great when he was standing with Rassilon and Rassilon like, I will shoot him. And he was like, no, he's a war hero. You can't shoot him. Yeah, then standing.
Rassilon's like, "I'm the Lord President. You serve me."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then he was the one that was probably like the best out of everybody in the High Council. Yeah, he really showed some. Not only was he just a great actor, a great character, but just that character in himself was
Integrity.
integrity. That's what I'm looking for. Integrity was just great, all the way to the end, and then yes, and then when the general transforms or regenerates into the woman, also she was amazing.
Yeah.
Just carried that so well, and was fun.
Yeah, she was pretty awesome. I was gonna say bad. I can't say the word. Although they said it in the Doctor Who last week, so
You can say whatever you want. I'm not editing this one.
yeah. And Rassilon is always predictably awful. And what's funny is you hear these things: Rassilon the Redeemer, Rassilon the blah blah blah. It's like you never see it. All you see is just nasty.
yes.
Yeah.
Nasty Rass.
Yeah, whatever happened to him? He used to be a good man.
Yeah, we've never seen him. We've only the first time that I've known of his existence actually was in the Five Doctors, where they go to Rassilon's tomb, and that did not turn out well. Yeah, Rassilon has always been regarded as not a nice guy, a real no good Nick,
A Rascalon.
that Rassilon.
And the job of president of Gallifrey seems to be basically you just kill or usurp the person above you and you become president, which doesn't seem a good system.
Well, the Doctor's actually served as president before. So I think that in spite of whatever trouble he's gotten into throughout the years, he has a lot, and this is well before the time war. Mm-hmm. He's, amongst some people, carried respect for quite a while. So I think it was the fifth Doctor that was president. Fifth through early sixth Doctor was president.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
The Doctor was president of Gallifrey for a period.
I don't even remember that. Like, this is all news that I'm hearing right now. But I'm sure you are the one with the research. So I know that you research more than I do. You are more knowledgeable, but I do remember seeing the fourth Doctor with a fancy hat.
I don't think it was the fourth Doctor yet. It might have been. It might have.
Well, that was the Deadly Assassin, right?
Yeah.
So did that not happen there?
I don't know. Pass.
I've seen very limited amounts of the fifth Doctor's story.
But the twin dilemma, no.
That was that was so. Sixth Doctor starts off bad, but he quickly surpasses the fifth Doctor, in my opinion. Anyway,
I haven't seen it either.
But so the implication, I've read some of the reviews. The implication is that Rassilon had died, and the Time Lords resurrected him to fight the Time War. That's why he gets the Rassilon the Resurrected.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Interesting. Makes sense. And then he must have regenerated from Timothy Dalton after...
They gave him multiple regenerations.
Or, well, what makes sense to me is they resurrected him, had him fight in the Time War, and then Rassilon gets all crazy and is like, I want to make everything consciousness, make all life consciousness, and that's when the end of time happened, parts 1 and 2. And then when the 10th Doctor...
well, because he was losing the Time War. So rather than lose the Time War, they were going to transcend.
Yes. Oh, wait, so then when did End of Time happen?
Before the Doctor ended the Time War.
Okay, that was... All right. That was before the last day of the Time War.
Yes.
Got it. So then maybe at that point, so before that, he comes back, tries to do the consciousness thing, then 10th Doctor goes, back into hell, Rassilon, and then maybe that's when he regenerated into Old Man Withers.
Maybe. At some point.
At some point. These timelines get all jumbled up in my head.
Because we don't see him at all during the 50th, do we?
We do not.
So we don't know what's up with him at that point.
But we just know it's not Timothy Dalton.
Mm-hmm. He's just, I don't know. James Bond.
I know, right?
George Lazenby takes over.
Yes.
It's a good movie, but he's not a very good actor.
Yes. So, I think that it's kind of funny. I enjoy the ending bit. At first, I thought it was going to be a copy of what happened with Donna, and they actually referenced it. He said, "I've done it before telepathically. Now I found a better way." Or what was it, like a? He said like a Bluetooth way or something. Or I don't know. Maybe that was something I made up in my head. Maybe that wasn't really said.
He said that the new way is easier.
Yeah, the new way is easier.
Painless.
Okay, I don't know why I was thinking Bluetooth.
Bluetooth is not easy or painless.
Yes. But
why won't the phone stick with the car?
Yes, but I think that it's really interesting that the way that all turned out with Clara actually kind of being the Doctor, acting like the Doctor and reversing the polarity.
Once again.
Once again.
So I think that the big point of the episode was, I think, twofold. One is that the Doctor doesn't like endings, more so than any Doctor we've seen. This Doctor especially seems to have a hard time. He wants to run and hide and go into denial rather than admit the truth.
Right.
So that's part of it. And this whole thing, like there was the one line that I had jotted down about when Me says the reason we run is we know summer can't last forever, and the Doctor replies, "No, of course it can. You need to find a time machine." But it goes to show the Doctor denying the inevitable.
Right.
And I think that the other point of the episode is seeing Clara. In fact, both Clara and Me, in some ways, almost surpass the Doctor because they recognize this truth. And the scene with Clara that we mentioned earlier, when she's like, I think we mentioned it. Everybody has to face the Raven in the end.
Right.
She's not afraid of dying.
That's the deal, I believe.
Yeah, she's not afraid of dying. She wants to have as much fun as she can, live life to the fullest while she can, and when it's time, it's time.
Right.
So I think it's important to see the contrast and to see her having grown. In a lot of ways, she's better than the Doctor. All she doesn't have is regeneration.
Right. Wow. No, why did I say right to that? I don't like that statement. Clara's better than the Doctor. Stop changing my mind, Gabe. Yeah. No, I was actually kind of thinking that, like, wow, this is good. This is a huge deal for the Doctor. This is a huge, like, not my mind is saying quirk, but it's like a big hang up that the Doctor has of not being able to accept goodbyes, the inevitable. I mean, he's very socially awkward. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. And so one thing is, he's always, running away from things and not liking the fixed things. He doesn't like fixed things. He wants them to be open. He doesn't
Unlike Moffat.
Yes. He doesn't want things to be, he doesn't like goodbyes or, it's just a thing with the Doctor that we've kind of known. So having people that are like, no, it's okay. It's okay that it's ending. Things can be sad, and sad doesn't equal bad. Sad things can be beautiful. That just, you have to get over the pain. Yeah, there's a lot of flawed hero.
Right, but there's something kind of endearing about the Doctor and his stubbornness.
Yeah.
It's like another scene that I really liked was when the Doctor was explaining to Clara about why he did all this to save her, and he says that he had a duty of care. But I mean, Capaldi's a brilliant actor, but the emotion that Capaldi has saying this, it's clear that it's more than just he felt duty of care.
Right.
And I think maybe because Clara is so special, and I think that more than a lot of companions we've seen, they really did have that friendship because they were a nice balance. Because yes, they were very similar, and Clara got very reckless, but she still knew generally when to pull back. The Doctor, once he goes off, you can't stop him, as we saw in this episode.
Yeah, I think the dangerous thing, with Clara, she will go as far as to getting herself killed, and the Doctor will go as far as to destroying the universe.
Right, but ultimately, to the very end, Clara was trying to hold him back.
Right,
and she understood very, very well the dangers of risking other people.
Right. And also, I mean, this is something we've been kind of talking around, but just to name it, it was fun seeing the Doctor on Gallifrey and having an adventure on Gallifrey, because the Doctor hasn't really been on Gallifrey in quite some time that we've seen. No more of that. But actually, no. Technically, the 50th was the last time that he was on Gallifrey, but that was before a lot of things. So the War Doctor was the last actual Doctor to be on Gallifrey, or the Doctor of War.
Yes, which I like that.
Which is another, yeah. But yeah, it was cool to see that again. having an actual, not a, we said a fan name.
Because they don't say War Doctor on the show.
Yeah, they don't. It's the Doctor of War.
And that tied into Clara's last message, because this Doctor, 12, lost his way so much that her last message to him was be a doctor. Because clearly the way he was acting from the time he got out of his confession dial to then, he kind of abandoned that again.
He did.
Yeah.
Good old Rage of the Time Lord.
Yep, Rage of the Time Lord. Cool. Well, does that about sum it up? Do you have any other nuggets, Gabe?
Not really. It's not super fascinating, but the Fuerteventura on the Canary Islands served for both the external shots for Gallifrey and Nevada.
Oh, really?
It was obviously the same place. Just a little heavier filter one way or the other, depending.
Also, it's kind of amusing, 'cause I think I mentioned it in the review, but we've not mentioned it here yet. The Doctor completely abandoned the puns, and that's where he went, to meet them at that diner. Mm-hmm. But he'll destroy the universe to save Clara. It's just that contrast is pretty amazing. And it just again shows. I think we probably saw that a little bit with Rose as well, but it's pretty rare that a Doctor is willing to go to such lengths for a companion.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
He'll keep him alive if he can, but that's kind of the extent of...
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, I did like the fact that the diner was the same. It was kind of a nice little memory thing. Yeah, it was probably no real reason why the diner was the same diner, but it was kind of...
recycle a set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wait. I didn't even realize it, but yeah, when they changed that angle, I'm like, oh, no way. That's the diner. Holy business.
Could it have been something as simple as that's the BBC's diner set and the old TARDIS set on the same soundstage, so they just wheel them together?
That's not just the BBC's diner set. That's the BBC's American diner set. It says Elvis on it.
Yes.
I'm not sure they have diners in England.
No, they have public houses.
Yes.
Sure.
And there's no great reason why they didn't say it was in Utah, which is where we knew the diner was in the Possible Astronaut.
There was no reason to... Well, except for the diner is actually there in Utah, so that could make it confusing if there were two of them.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Or it could just be things like, hey, here's things that are just off a little bit. So
clues.
Yeah.
Moffat's doing a thing he normally doesn't do.
Yes. Which is a really great thing that I didn't feel lied to at all in this episode.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Everything was like smooth, solid reasoning. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I remember, Joseph,
You remember
were
me.
saying during the Raven, if that's how Clara ends, it's going to be like the most dumb, insignificant parting. And then he turned it around and made it something really spectacular. Mm-hmm. So I guess we're just going to have to...
I guess Stephen Moffat gets an A+.
He does. Let go and let Moffat.
Most improved. Yeah.
Yeah. Most improved.
Over his previous self.
You get a star. You get a little...
You get a math star.
You get a math star. You get
Adric.
a scratch and smell sticker of grapes that says, you're a grape. Grape job.
Not the only one that remembers that.
Oh, yes. Those are great. Cool.
I feel less old now.
I know, right? Any other bits of crumbs or nuggets or juicy fruits? The taste is going to move you.
Okay. Up next is the Husbands of River song. And I'm going to start to jump on the Joseph bandwagon here that 12 is her doctor. And I'm going to guess that Moffat gives us this clue by having the doctor snap to shut the TARDIS doors.
Ah.
Which is what River said.
Yeah, on
her
their
doctor.
First meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
But then also 11 did it at least once too.
So did 10.
After she told him.
That's true, yeah.
But he didn't do it on a regular basis. The fact that Capaldi out of the blue did that seems to indicate maybe this is going to be her doctor. Maybe.
It's the golden age or whatever he said.
Yes.
They're being Mr. and Mrs. Who.
Mr. and Mrs. Who.
Oh, dear.
What do you think, Susan? What did you think when you saw the trailer for the Christmas special?
I think it looks goofy and awesome. I don't know. I'm ready for some silly Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'm ready for Doctor Who to not be so heavy.
Yeah. it definitely seems to go a little bit more lighthearted, so I'm ready.
Yeah, but it definitely seems like it's going to be something a little bit more lighthearted. And that's what I like in Christmas specials, is lightheartedness.
Well, if that's it,
That's it, yeah.
do you have a Hutu, Matt?
I do have a Hutu, but it's right underneath my chairs. You don't have
What?
any notes? Any news crumbs?
Nothing important.
Nothing. Oh,
We're
well,
kind of at the end of the series.
we
so
are.
There's no more news.
Yes.
There's another episode for Christmas.
Actually, that was probably the biggest news thing.
The other thing, I read earlier this week, or maybe late last week, that Moffat is down to like 4 or 5 candidates for the next companion.
Oh, they should have the next companion. Like, I'm surprised they don't have like a show or something, like a live reality show. On,
We're getting there.
well, I mean, we get all our live reality shows from Britain, right?
The Doctor's next top companion.
Yes.
This category, running.
Okay, so our WhoTube today comes from Rose.
Rose, Tyler.
Well, we don't know if it's Rose Tyler. It's just it's Rose. The username is Rose in all lowercase.
Fantastic.
Called 12 and Clara. Immortality is everyone else dying. And in parentheses it says 8x01 to 9x10. So season 9 from the first episode in...
Don't worry about it. Does it say fan vid?
No, it does
Then
not.
It's fine.
It gets us a stamp of approval.
So yeah, go ahead and check that out. It's a very nice WhoTube, a video of Clara and the Doctor and just that whole kind of completed timeline. This obviously was made before this last episode when we knew, okay, she's not dead. She has a whole nother adventure series popping up in front of her face.
She could be like Jack.
She could be like Jack, yeah.
She'll get a job at Torchwood.
She could do, and yeah, she could never. Is that the thing now? Here's a question out of the blue about the episode: can she not die until?
We don't know.
Okay.
We know that
Not if she does die.
She would really fracture time.
Yeah. Yeah.
we know that she is not aging,
Yes.
Yes.
which is problematic for production reasons. But
Right.
Right.
She needs to go on an underwater adventure so she doesn't have to breathe anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
Excellent.
she can play
Yeah.
the Mario water levels.
Oh, see, beautiful.
Oh.
I hate those.
Everyone hates it.
So anyway, 12 and Clara, immortality is everyone else dying. Check that out. It's a lot of fun, and thank you very much, Rose, for making it. Great job. Don't stop.
Believe in no.
And you can also check us out on our YouTube page. Check out episodes.
We're putting podcasts up now.
We're putting podcasts up. It's great. It's great and dandy.
We're in the future.
We're in the future. So if you'd rather listen to podcasts on the internet on YouTube, you can do that. We don't want to limit people or put them in boxes. If you want to do it the difficult way, you can do it. Definitely.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
That's a shot at listener Conrad, I think.
Oh, does he do that?
We do this YouTube thing at Conrad's request.
Yeah. We do.
Sorry, Conrad.
Yay, Conrad. Now, let us mention other things.
Yes.
Like our website.
I think. Oh no, you didn't. You did the YouTube. Yes.
Oh, I did the YouTube, which is YouTube.
It's. I don't know what it is.
It's
Actually,
AOT Podcast.
Okay, good. Good. It's the easy one.
Yeah, easy one. You can go to aotpodcast.com and check out all our podcasts and reviewings, and you can check us out on
The occasional blog post.
the occasional blog post.
Exceedingly occasionally. At this point.
You can check us out on iTunes and Stitcher. Give us stars and ratings and comments. We like that thing. And go and check us out on our network, musingsofageek.com, where you can find all kinds of fun podcasts over there, like 14 Going on 40, Graphic Novice, and Culture Babble, and of course the flagship podcast, Musings of a Geek podcast. And now, that is everything I think I mentioned.
I think you got everything in there.
We got everything in that one breath. For this episode of The Arrow Time, I have been Matt.
I have been Joseph.
I have been Gabe.
I have been Susan.
And this has been The Arrow of Time.
Yay.
Yay.
Hey.
One in the books.
So I'm gonna call it. Clara is the new. No, she's the Sarah Jane for our generation. I'm gonna call it.
Yeah.
That's a good title.
Yes.
Watch her and Maisie Williams go off on magical flying adventures.
Seriously, that is a show waiting to happen.
Yeah.
If only she weren't playing Queen Victoria. Who wants to watch that?
You know, Maisie Williams wasn't busy doing that whole Game of Thrones thing.
That should be done. She's gonna die eventually, right?
No,
Everybody does.
She is the only one who doesn't. She has the thing in her head that makes her
Oh, I
never
thought
die.
you meant in Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Yeah, I did mean Game of Thrones.
Yes.
No, it's the same. It's the same universe. She just time traveled back to a point in time before Game of Thrones started, and then inserted herself into the story.
You are now leading the world of Musings of a Geek podcast network. Stay geeky, my friends.